Hey guys, we got our friend Dr. Mike Schnieder on the podcast again. He was on episode 17, so if you enjoyed that one, you'll definitely enjoy this one. And if you enjoyed this one, go back and listen to that one in case you missed it. Mike is a chiropractor, so if you're in need of one of those, he works at the Back Pain Center in St. Peters. We'll be tagging all of his stuff when we post about the pod. Or you can just look him up now on Instagram at Back Pain Center or at Mike Schneider 50. Also, we got some more great guests coming up, like some really good ones. We're also going to be getting back to more of a structured podcast, kind of like we were doing at the beginning with the drafts and brackets and lists and things like that. So please stick around and, keep checking on our stuff because it's only going to get better, hopefully. Who knows? I don't know. There's a decent chance it gets worse. But either way, I'm sure it'll be a fun watch. Thank you, and as always, enjoy the podcast.
Hi, I'm here to audition for the Stand and Know podcast.
Yo, we're not hiring.
Yeah, we don't make any money.
Just some kings hashing it out over the bronze.
Hot, just sexual heat.
I don't have pants. Like, the only pants that I have, I just pooped in.
I was at a strip club an hour and a half before I boarded the plane. What do you want me to do?
Somebody asked me this one time. Have you ever seen... It's a crazy question. It's pretty funny. Have you ever seen another erection in person? I haven't.
Not that I can think of.
I've never
off the
seen
top of
one
my
in
head.
person.
But that's a great question.
That's crazy to think about.
I've
Never seen another one in person.
That's a really good question. Yeah.
I mean,
wow.
I haven't found myself probably in many situations where I'm
would you?
looking at it or looking for it, or B, would expect there to be.
I mean, I played college hockey. Like, you shower with a bunch of guys, but you've still never been around.
There's only one guy that's hard, and he's always hard, and it's not a big deal then. It's not a big deal. So if it happened in the football locker room when I was playing, it wouldn't be a big deal. It wouldn't be a big deal. I don't know why we're still talking about it.
And I don't know why I was kicked off the team for. It was 2011. I don't give a shit.
But I've never yet. I've walked in on people having sex, so but it still wasn't even didn't see the whole thing. It was just kind of like a glimpse, but still
Did you sit there for 20 seconds and be like,
I'm
sorry.
Look at that. What a whopper.
No, I mean, I don't think I ever saw, I'm trying to think college, living in a fraternity house, you just open a door and see shit.
Yeah.
I don't remember ever seeing that.
Yeah, I don't think I ever have either.
That's a great
I've never
question.
walked in on sex before, but
Really?
if I ever do, hear my words. I'm just going to say, you do her.
Is that your whole life? That's all you've come up with? You acted like you're this is a go-to joke. You do her.
The whole time ramping up to the moment that I had to say it, in my brain I was like, shit. Think of something. Think of something. I couldn't think of
That's
nothing.
funny.
That's pretty good.
That always happens.
You ad-libbed well.
I've
done better, though.
I've never been walked in on. I've had the door knocked on and been no. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Get out of here. There was countless number of times that me and Olivia were just hanging out in bed, or she was even still sleeping, and someone would knock on the door. I'd roll over on top of her and just start doing the slide up and down, not full on humping, but just go come in. They'd come in. I go, oh, what? And they're Jesus Christ. I was no, what is it? They're it always got a laugh. They always knew I wasn't, because Olivia would be just ignoring me. She's just Jesus Christ. Wonder why she left. Who knows? But yeah, that's always a killer gag. Just say, come in, and you go, no, you needed something? Oh, my keys. Yeah, no, they're right on the table over there. Just talking to them during the whole thing. When was it? It was one of the weddings, I'm sure. Kelly was in town for something.
Well, it had to be probably Jake's wedding then, right?
No,
it was recent.
It was before that.
Was he here for Otter's wedding, right? Wasn't he?
No, we'll just say it was Jake's wedding, whenever it was. Yeah, maybe it was Camp David or something. But either way, he the same night he saw Sarah's boob because she was picking up one of the cats, and the cat reached up and pulled down her shirt. So he saw her boob and my penis because I went to bed. I was Sarah always, when she's drunk, when we get back, she's gonna eat. And I am not a drunk eater at all. I just want to go to sleep immediately. If we're not banging, I'm going to bed. That's my policy.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's a fair policy, and she knows policy. And I'm if you expect me to stay awake, There better be some compensation. But anyways, and so like I go to bed and they're out there talking and making food and stuff, and so I just get completely naked and I walk out there and go, would you goddamn keep it down? I'm trying to sleep in here, and I'm just completely nude. And it got a good laugh out of Kelly, but he was also a little upset, and he's like that's just a classic weekend at Adams. Saw both of them, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably to be expected.
That is pretty funny.
We were hanging out with some friends of one of your ex-girlfriends.
Okay.
And all the guys, everyone went upstairs except me and the one girl, and we started hooking up on the couch, and the window was down, and you're like, I think it was your ex-girlfriend's uncle went around the side of the house to pee, and it was a basement, so the windows are just like straight out to the backyard, usually, and we just hear him over there just like, we're hooking up on the couch, and we hear like someone walking over, and we're like, okay, kind of look, we're like, okay, they're not gonna see. We go back to hooking up, and then just hear like the pants unzip and just like typical dad peeing sounds, just like burping, farting, like all the grunts, and we're just like, Jesus Christ.
Talk about a mood killer.
I know, he's just like, ugh. Like just all the gross dad
like
sounds.
After drinking like 10 beers
the drunk
day.
dad pee sounds.
Yep.
Not real
when
sex
you're
heaven.
When you're not worried about like what is around or who's around.
Exactly. I'm like, he thought he was completely alone, so did we. It would have been funny if I would have just been like, dude, that was worse than the sounds we were making.
I know exactly who that was too.
Yeah.
Funny story.
It is. That was a big hoot.
Funny story. Hoot and a half.
We talked about a couple weeks ago. You asked if we had a go-to hangover meal.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a go-to?
I don't have something I make every time.
We're talking
we
about
didn't even think about that.
buy.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're talking like greasy.
No,
I'm throwing up. I need some
Yeah.
greasy.
I really love Five Guys.
Oh, okay.
That's great.
That's a
Sober
good choice.
or hungover, but like just the greasy, fatty, fried.
You like
see,
eating in the
right.
store for the peanuts?
See,
I'm a huge peanut eater.
I could take or leave the peanuts. But like,
I don't give a fuck about the peanuts.
Right.
Five Guys is awesome.
Right.
I can get peanuts for $1
At the grocery store.
at anywhere else and bring them home.
Right.
Yeah, you don't have to pay for the $1 at Five
Yeah,
Guys.
you're-
If you would like
Yeah,
$1 for peanuts,
you're not paying the dollar,
It's
but
the atmosphere while you're at Five Guys, you assholes.
it's included in the $9.50 burger with your $5 fries.
Next
for
time-
the peanuts.
Yeah, probably.
next time you're over, I'm gonna have peanuts out, and you just eat them and throw them on the ground.
Like Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah,
It's seriously amazing how many peanuts I eat.
yeah. I don't doubt it. You go. They ask if you want fries. No, I'll just have the peanuts. Okay. But yeah, my go-to is usually like a sandwich or a burger, and I completely forgot to tell it that for the longest time it was the foot-long meatball sub from Subway, and it
I
is.
can't believe that's it.
Yeah. And you guys remember? You guys would always shit on me. You guys were sandwich
Snobs?
supremacist. Yeah, like supremacist. Is that a word? White supremacist.
But sandwiches.
Elitist. Sandwich elitist is what you guys
Oh, there
were.
you go.
Or sandwich
We're talking
supremacist.
about our friends down in Washington.
Yeah, not us. But either way, because like you love Jimmy John, Sam loved Pickleman, and I would still
Penn
get.
Station,
Now this was
number one for me.
Now I've obviously evolved, both, emotionally, spiritually, and financially being the main thing. Is now I don't have to eat Subway, and so there's no reason to eat Subway.
Yeah.
And I mean,
True.
I'd
not
get
a
it
fan.
occasionally, I'm sure, but I haven't gotten it in a long time. But it used to be my go-to. You eat a meatball sub while hungover, you feel so bad for the next like 30 minutes to an hour, and then you feel fine.
it's gone.
It compresses the entire hangover into a short period of time. It's a perfect system. When I used to go, I was in high school and would go visit David down at college. We would all three get meatball subs, and like I would be thinking about getting it, and I'd say something like David would be like mulling over food options. I'd say that. He's like, God damn it, you're right. Yeah, we need to get Subway. And Jake would be upstairs from to hear us, and they're like, God damn it, I don't want to get it. But like, if you guys are getting it, I'm not going to see Subway in the house and not have my own Subway, And every
does
once
smell pretty
in a
good.
while, when I'm really hungover, I think about that. I'm like, I don't know if I'd survive the bad hour after, but I think I need it. Like if I had the strength. I've been really thinking about it a lot.
I haven't had it in
because
so long. I kind of like.
you feel
I kinda
great
want one.
after.
I'm a big frozen pizza guy as well.
Oh,
Yeah, that's always great.
Because you already have it bought.
Yeah.
All you have to do is hate your life to walk over to the freezer,
Yeah.
preheat the oven, stick that bad boy in there. 25
No,
minutes later.
What's your brand?
I really like Red Baron.
Oh, okay.
Tombstone.
Ooh, Tombstone's great.
I'm not big on Jack's. I mean, when in a pinch,
That's
Jax
my
is
number.
good
That's my
enough.
number
Jack's is
one.
okay.
Jax is good.
Mama Lucia's is pretty solid.
Oh,
Mama
yeah,
Lucia's
great.
is great.
But
Sam
yeah.
and Grupus love Mama Lucia's.
I'm a big frozen pizza guy in
I love
general,
that too.
but especially a little hungover.
Yeah.
You just crush the whole thing. You feel
You
like
know,
crap.
Lately, it's been all Costco for us. in this
You know
house.
my brand.
Kirkland's signature brand.
Totino's.
Those
Party
frozen?
pizzas.
I cannot believe you eat party pizza.
I
Those
still
are
eat.
so good.
Yeah.
Or pizza rolls.
Yeah. No, yeah. I'll have some combination Totino's party pizzas, and like if I know like I'm going to the lake this weekend, so I'm gonna make sure I got some for when we get home, and that's gonna be a real treat.
Yeah, party pizzas are great.
In college, we would always have that.
I always had
We'd
it
call
in
them,
college.
We'd call them pizza Sundays because that's what's perfect when you're hungover is frozen pizzas. You're usually out of money
Yep.
from the night of drinking the night
Right.
before,
Yep.
and so you're gonna eat whatever you have in the freezer. So if you got frozen pizzas, that's perfect. And one time we made like I mean 10 plus frozen pizzas. Like between me and my 4 roommates and Jake and Mitch lived across the street, and then some other people came over. We made a ton of them, and we had some we had these chicken fingers type things that we had gotten for free because the food pantry couldn't sell them anymore. And my girlfriend at the time worked at the food pantry, and she's like, "Yeah, we have to throw them away. We can't or not they couldn't sell them. They can't even give them away." And so they're like, we have to throw them away. So the workers just took them. She's like, I know people who will eat them. We'll eat the food that's not fit for the homeless. These guys. And we ate them. And my God, did they make me sick every time. Every time.
imagine
And
that.
I ate them every time. The shit's real bad.
Frozen chicken tenders?
They
'cause
were
it wasn't
like
chicken, I'm
super
sure.
old and yeah, probably not real chicken. And it was hot buffalo, which is already a dicey situation for
I know,
some
but
people.
I feel like frozen chicken tenders. I feel like those
You think
things-
it's going to be
I feel
fine,
like
but
they last
I'll
forever.
promise you it wasn't. It was not fine.
You got a weak stomach. You got a weak
I
stomach.
don't think I do.
I think you do.
We'll talk about it some other time. But yeah, and we made like 10 pizzas and like 3 trays of frozen chicken tenders, and then you start feeling better, so you start drinking again. And we were, for some reason, throwing beers into the trash can, really throwing them down hard at the trash can. And Sam threw a bottle, and the trash can was pretty much completely full, like a mound at the top. It just bounced, skipped across it once, hit the oven, completely shattered. The whole oven just shattered. And because when glass is super hot, it explodes. Like glass is across the whole kitchen, like a decent sized radius. And we just told them that we're like, yeah, we made 100 pizzas, or we made 15 pizzas and it shattered. And they paid for it.
They bought it. Huh?
And we're just like, fucking schmucks. It was my last weekend I was in town too. And Sam, Joe, and Kelly were like, and
They
I was
paid for it?
the
company.
Yeah. We just told them, we're like, yeah, maybe it had a crack and the heat got to it or something. They're like, all right. And they
No way to prove otherwise, right?
yeah, exactly. And fucking got you.
Stick
Campus
to the
View,
man.
fuck you.
Neos
But
is-
anyways, and so it was my last weekend. I was leaving, and not that they, Joe, Sam, and Kelly can't handle things for themselves. I just do it quicker. So I more often than not would just do it. And they were like, Adam, you think you could get us out of this jam one last time? You think you could make the call up to them and lie and tell them whatever? And I did. And it was such just almost like Henry Hill, Goodfellas type thing of just they bought it, And then they fixed our oven and we didn't have to pay for it.
That's a pretty good story.
It was really funny. And the best thing is, and I still have a Snapchat with that being the caption, of Sam shattering the oven and going, I just threw it as hard as the other ones. And it's like, yeah, but you threw it at a completely full trash can where it couldn't go in. It was a mound of trash and you just bounced it off the top. But
Sam.
It
Gotta
was
love
pretty
Sam.
funny.
Yeah, those party pizzas are great drunk food. So me and a bunch of my high school and college buddies, and one of my friend's older brothers and all of his college buddies would go down to the lake around this time every year, right at the end of summer. It was 20 or 25 guys, just total dude fest. It was ridiculous. We'd have 30 cases of beer for the weekend. And at 10:30 every night, we'd have half a dozen or a dozen frozen pizzas just cycling through the oven, man. Just fuel.
that's
love
It was
last,
the best. Just party pizzas, one after the other.
yeah,
Just keep 'em
and they
going.
go down easy. They're
Yeah.
like a
They go
dollar.
down so
Yeah.
What, you buy the combination ones?
Yeah, I buy combination.
I buy the pepperoni ones myself.
Yeah, pepperoni was the one I would go.
I occasionally go just hamburger, just sausage.
Do you like them better circle or squares? They were both.
They
in
were
our lifetime.
circles for a long
Yeah.
time.
I
And
loved the circles.
the circles were more fun.
best.
They went to
They were the
squares. They went to squares
the
at the same time that I think they shrunk them.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure, and just to hide it, they just changed the shape, and they're like, people
Well,
never
and they
noticed.
put it in
Have you
different
noticed the
packages.
crust
Yeah,
is
they did.
now like kind of rigid,
Uh-huh.
isn't it? Or am I
It's-
thinking of a different one?
You're thinking a different one. It's still the same all the way through.
Okay,
The middle's
okay.
just the same as the crust. It
I
was
thought
one of the
I thought
like
the crust kind of was
Camp
like,
David Beer Olympics things we had
Uh-huh.
that I made a pizza. And I remember I was like one of the last people awake. I was staying up for my pizza and then was also like cleaning in the process. And just walking around, and all of a sudden like 2 of my pieces were missing, which sometimes happens when you're drunk. You're like, did I just eat these? Did I just set it down somewhere and walk away? Which, by the way, in Florida, I wasn't even that drunk, but like when you're not at your own house, you're staying in a place, you kind of lose aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
And I peed at one point and then was just like, I don't think I flushed the toilet. Because like I just didn't remember hearing that. And I go back, and there, by the way, it was a weird room. There was 2 toilets or 2 bathrooms that had a doorway in the middle, so that like you could close the door and one could act as a master bath and one could act as the other. But either way, it was just kind of because there was just me and Sarah. It was just funny because there was this hallway, like toilet and 3 feet over another toilet. And so I go and I check the one toilet. There's no pee in it. I'm like, okay. And I go and check the other one. There's no pee in it. And I'm like, did I pee here? I'm like, I walked around the apartment. I was like, because I was super tired. And like I had laid down drunk and like got up. And again, I wasn't like blacked out, but still I was like maybe half sleepwalking, not in my apartment, you know, at a hotel. I was like, did I just like pee off the balcony or something? And I'm like, oh boy.
We have a friend who, on our senior trip in Florida,
Yeah.
won't name any names, but
peed
we were
off-
on the 19th floor. Well, several of us peed off the balcony. But one of our friends peed in the middle of the elevator. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. I know someone that
That was
peed off the
pretty
balcony
funny.
when they were at a Florida condo. They peed off the balcony into the pool down there. They were on the 2nd floor. So the people at the pool are just like
Getting their
looking
golden shower.
up, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
Like right there.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, 10 feet away.
Oh, so that
just
condo
peeing.
must have been directly above.
Yeah, directly
Or he's
above.
got a killer stream.
You never know, but like
After enough
all the
beers.
people there,
Yeah, you're
and he
right.
peed on like a couple of the guys, and he was just like blacked out. So then he finishes peeing, takes 5 steps, lays down on the couch. All those guys show up at the apartment, and they're like wanting to kick his ass, and they're like, he's asleep. I don't know how you're gonna fight him. Like they're like, you can't fight him. He's asleep. Like, which is a great argument to say. They're like, well, we're gonna kick his ass. You're like, you're not gonna beat up on a sleep guy. We can't let you do that. And they like told him, they're like, hey, you pissed on those guys? If you were awake, we would have let you like at least one-on-one fight one. You're not supposed to piss on people.
Yeah, no,
But
no.
it was just like that's a funny argument to make. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You can't fight on a sleep person.
He's got to wake up sometime. You clearly know where we're staying.
We'll set an alarm. We'll call you in the morning. Like, they're just. I'm like, I would love to hear that argument of like the 2 people involved being like, I'm not mad at you either, but you can't fight them physically.
Like, we didn't do it. You
I
didn't
had-
see us on the balcony. It wasn't us.
Oh, I completely got distracted. I didn't finish my story. So I thought I had just eaten part of the pizza and set it somewhere, and I'm like, maybe I set it on the coffee table and the dog grabbed it or something. And then the next morning, David told me, and he was like, oh yeah, it was perfect. I got up to pee, saw a couple slices of the pizza there. I grabbed some. I don't know who was up making pizza that late, and I was like, you son of a bitch! I walked around the whole house looking for my pizza. I was like, I thought I was drunken and eating it. He's like, oh no, that was me. That was perfect. He's like, that was just what the doctor ordered. I'm like, you POS.
That's pretty good.
But then I also noticed a thing, and so I'm very like nervous around the airport and stuff, which already doesn't look good. And
I'm always super.
there's just so much to mess
super-
up, and like, and Sarah really knows what she's doing, and just in life and at airports, like so I just like follow her, and
in life.
also, I'm experiencing as I date Sarah and go to places with Sarah. You know, I don't mean to toot my own penis, but Sarah's an attractive young lady. Really, really pretty attractive. And so I don't notice that when you're with an attractive girl, people look at you. Because
Oh,
they're
yeah, they do.
looking at the hot girl, you know? And we're
who's the
going to
girl
Florida.
with? Yeah.
So she's got like a short shirt on and like some cute shorts on. And I'm like thinking we're doing something wrong. I'm like, all these people keep eyeing us. Like the security guards, the TSA guys are like, oh.
And then you look at her
we'll
chest and
take
it's
you
like,
over here. And I'm like, oh. Yeah, they don't give a fuck about me. And
Nope.
like, I know, obviously, like, you might get that. You don't get that. I mean, you're with Aaron. We were, You've never gotten that in your life.
Ayo.
Ayo, Aaron sucks. But yeah, I was like, I was like, Sarah, you just, and I brought that up to her and she thought it was hilarious. I'm like, you just walk around, people looking at you. I was like, how do you know you're not doing something wrong? She's like, well, I just generally know what I'm doing. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I don't. I'm like, I never know what I'm doing. There's even the same thing. Like this guy on a podcast was telling a story and I completely identified with it. He's like I very rarely take any sort of public transportation just because this isn't a big city for it. Occasionally take the metro and stuff, and I've taken the train to Chicago, or I took a bus to Indiana, and the bus to Indiana was, we took a 3 a.m. bus, me and Groupus, to Indiana because we didn't want to have to drive after the Colts game. We were going right from the Colts game to get on the bus to come home, and it was really something. And there was so many just straight up homeless people on the bus, and it was wild that like the whole time I'm nervous. I'm like, are you sure this is their bus? What's our time? And there are homeless crackheads that like know the bus schedule, and they're like, no, it's a fairly simple system, Adam. Actually, and I'm like, I mean, these goddamn geniuses figuring out this whole thing.
Dude, that was like me walking around New York for the first time.
Oh, I can imagine. There's homeless, mentally ill people walking around, and they know the whole thing, and you're like, how many?
Luckily, the girl who like hired us took us around. Like she took us on the subway the first time. Thank the Lord. And I had no, like it took me 5 minutes just to swipe my subway card the right way. Like it shows you, but it was all faded off and like scratched.
And they don't replace it because everyone knows except the
people
occasional
who don't
like
go there.
people
They're never going to
Except
replace
tourists.
it. They're never going to replace it. And so like I'm trying that, whatever. I just tried to understand the map the entire time. And even this girl who had been there a bunch took us the wrong way. And we had to like get off, and we went like 4 or 5 stops towards like the wrong way. She was like, we're going over the wrong bridge. And I was like, that's not good. So we just like hopped out and got on at the next stop and went. But I tried to like really understand this. And I'm a geography guy. I understand maps very well.
I've always known that about you.
I really have. And I never got it. Like I never understood the stops, the anything. I never got any of it. And like walking around there, I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like
it's a grid system, motherfucker.
It's a great system. It was
I said it's a grid system. That's a John Mulaney joke. Lost in New York, the streets are numbered.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I can hear him say
yeah. It's a grid system, motherfucker.
Grid system, motherfucker. I love John Mulaney. So good. Anyways, very lost. Very confused.
Yeah.
Luckily, I had someone take me around.
I can imagine. That's why they call it the Windy City.
Yeah,
Can't find your way
Sunshine
around.
State.
Yep. Can't find your way around.
Yeah. Coffee Town. Land of the potatoes.
Have you shut up.
Cheeseheads come from there, I'm pretty sure.
Are you familiar with Joe Coughlin's Twitter?
No.
Joe Coughlin was on, for the listener.
You've shown me
was
shown me his
yeah,
Twitter once
I definitely
or twice.
have, because I showed you and Aaron the one night. Joe was on the critically acclaimed episode 3. Great episode. He was great on it. His Twitter, he's either gotten really funny or has had like a psychotic slip, essentially, and has slipped into where he doesn't know what reality is and stuff. It is some of the funniest, craziest things I've ever seen
Really?
in my entire life. He posted a TikTok too the other day of just like, it looks like an old dad that doesn't know how to use his phone, and it's like one of the shape-shifting ones, and it's just like the song playing and like the lights are flashing and it's supposed to like shift your face, and he just like stopped it before that effect, and it's just like 6 seconds of his face and he's like looking around. And he posted it, and it's the funniest thing. All the listeners find Joe Coughlin. I'll plug a shit on Standing O because I don't know what is
Lynn.
Nope. Because I don't know either of it off the top of my head, but it's goddamn hilarious.
Why'd you have to put goddamn in there? What's
I don't
got it to do with that?
Shut up.
Okay.
Right.
Especially when
just
you do
too
as much
watered
random
down.
shit as we do.
Right.
So this comes from Sam and Groupus in high school used to always tell random weird rumors about me. Remember, like, they tell people I wear 2 pairs of socks. I had a tattoo on my butt that said Netflix. My favorite movie was no, it's not. My favorite movie was A Notebook. I went on vacation for a week, and they told everyone I took a week off school to play the new Call of Duty. because it had just come out around then, and people bought it because like I didn't have cell service and like they just didn't ask, maybe they didn't care, who knows. But either way,
they're all
and
jealous.
So then in college, like Sam meeting Joe and Kelly, they started doing the same things, and every once in a while someone who wouldn't know that well would buy it, because you have to know me well enough to know I'm not a lunatic, like, and you have to know them well enough to know that they're making up everything,
Right.
And Alex Ottinger's ex-girlfriend actually believed this story, and my toilet broke at some point just in college. Like, it just wouldn't flush, and I had to have like a string tied to the thing on the inside until maintenance could come fix it. And they said that me and Olivia, my girlfriend at the time, got in a fight because she said she didn't like my dad, and so I got super mad. And at this thing I do, they're like, yeah, and when Adam gets super mad, he angry flushes the toilet. And so he's just like, my father's a brilliant man. And broke his toilet, and she believed that.
Oh my god,
That sounds very much like you.
Exactly. No, it doesn't. No, but that's like nobody.
I've watched you flush toilets before. You
Not
asshole.
angry flushing.
I've seen you angry
So
flush.
I was going, my father's a brilliant man, and flushing the toilet. So let's say you're dating a girl and she's perfect in every way, like I said in the last video, great honkers, makes good money, gets along with all your friends, all the important things, her personality, who cares? But really, she's great in every single way, except every time you guys are mad, she angry flushes the toilet. Do you keep dating her?
Does she break it every time?
No.
Not every time?
She
or
breaks
just
it. Some of the times it breaks because toilets aren't designed for that. So it's going to break. Maybe you got to get it fixed. And all it is just a plastic thing. You figure out how to replace it. It's not that hard. Breaks
Is that
once
the
a
only
month.
thing? Like, we don't argue
No.
that much?
Nothing else is bad. You got to replace it.
absolutely not a deal breaker. Hell
Not-
yeah,
I think
dating her.
I'd keep her. I'd keep her around.
What about when it happens, at the bathroom at the wedding? You guys get in an argument in public and you go, I got to get her home before she gets to a toilet. Otherwise, she's going to break the public toilet.
And the good thing is, with a girl, nobody's going to see it happen, at least.
Well, the other girls in the bathroom might hear her going and go, and fuck up the toilet.
My father's a brilliant man.
You can chalk that one up to booze, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That wouldn't. I mean, it'd
Okay.
be weird, but it would not be a deal breaker.
Good.
Yeah,
to know.
I accidentally went from beer
Yeah.
to whiskey again.
Well, that's when it's- I mean,
I
that's-
got an angry flush when I switched to whiskey.
Yeah, she does that when she gets a little too drunk.
Right.
That's a great question. Do either of you hate the dentist? Do you hate the DMV or going to get your car looked at? I hate getting my car looked at because I feel like every time you don't know how expensive it's going to be.
Oh yeah, I don't know shit about cars either.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
know
worst
anything
part.
about
I'm
cars.
like,
they can lie to me.
something's making a noise. Fix it.
Yep.
Fortunately, my dad knows a ton, and so he can at least know like he might not be able to fix everything, but
tell
he
you
can
what's
tell if it's actually, and like the amount of times I've saved money just been like, hey, he says it's this problem. He's like, that'd be weird. The car's not that old, type of thing. And then he looks at it and it's fine. But either way, you have to go get your car looked at and make an appointment or like get an oil change or something every single week, or that same perfect girl leaves. Do you keep doing it?
An oil change?
Or no, just get your car looked at. Something's broken on your car. You just have to say, hey, my car's making a noise. That's all you tell them. And they figure it.
Something that gets to be really expensive.
Well, and also,
We'll take out the
financial side?
We'll take out the financial
okay, well, I like this, but like every time, like, what's my ride situation?
Yeah, am I without a car for 2 days or 3 days out of every week?
Sometimes. Let's say a third of the time you're without a car. The other times they can fix it.
You get, and the other times you get to.
One of the times
drive
they say
around
it's
your
not a
Huffy.
problem, you can drive out. The second time, they say we can do it today, but it'll be 2 hours, and you got to wait there. And then the third time, you're out of a car for 2 days, and you go once a month, and it just rotates like that.
Okay.
To keep this girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd do it.
Still would?
Yeah.
How about that? Angie's a lucky lady.
Probably. I mean,
She understands
probably.
loyalty.
Yeah, I'd do it.
I think that.
I'd
I
complain about it every fucking step.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I'd
Uh-huh.
bitch about it.
That's
I'm a
when
complainer.
we talked about the Cookie Monster thing last week. That's a great question to say, and but it would always come back up. Eventually, like the second the Cookie Monster girl complains about me, not washing the dishes, I'd be like, well, at least I don't eat like fucking Cookie Monster. That would come back up every time. At least I don't angry flush the toilet.
I feel like
While.
Yeah,
it'd be
and then
done
I think
after
it'd
a
sit
while.
dormant for a bit, and then it'd come back up.
Yeah, you're right.
That's true.
Always comes back. What should we call it?
Yeah.
We're at 2:02.
All right. Thank you for tuning in to the Stand and No podcast. Take it easy, nerds.
We appreciate it.